Hi guys, it's me again. So sorry, I had to look at a text. Um, anyways, it's been a few days since my last entry. Um, which I mean, um, I don't, I don't know what that matters. You guys can see it's a few days after. Um, but yeah, so I between doing college stuff, I've been starting to look at more of the book. I got quite a lot further through, but I'm picking up kind of on the page that I left off of, but a little bit further down. Um, okay, so I guess I'll go ahead and I'll start talking, I guess. I also think it's somewhat of a relief not to hear the true story. I mean, you look at the horror sweeping all the way up from my wrists to my elbows, and you have to take a deep breath and ask yourself, do I really want to know what happened there? They usually look away. My stories actually help them look away. Maybe they help me look away. But I guess that's nothing new. We all create stories to protect ourselves. Um, and then I really liked that one because it's interesting to see how people can lie to themselves to make themselves feel better about a situation that they were in. Um, I probably would if something scarred me. I probably would do that, I think. Um and then sorry, I have notes over here too. Um this one I really related to because I like collecting this is a stupid fact about me. But I like collecting old and abandoned little trinkets. I used to I used to go through the woods down behind my house because my grandfather used to build a lot of things down there. I never really got to meet him because he died when I was very young, but I used to go through his things down there and I would find a bunch of really cool things and I would try to figure out what kind of point in his life he was at when he held those things, and it's really cool to just look at something that someone used to hold dearly to themselves. Anyways, I'm talking too much about nothing. Um, what can I say? I'm a sucker for abandoned stuff, misplaced stuff, forgotten stuff, any old stuff which, despite the light of progress and all that, still vanishes every day like shadows at noon, goings unheralded, passings unmourned. Well, you get the drift. As a counselor once told me, a counselor for disaffected youth, I might add, you like that crap because it reminds you of you. Couldn't have said it better or put it more bluntly. Don't e- don't even disagree with it either. Seems pretty dead on and probably has everything to do with a story I've already lived and really still don't need. I'm I'm sorry that the words kind of moved around on me. Um, a story I've already lived and really don't need to retell here. Still, for whatever reason, and this my counselor for disaffected youth could never explain, accepting his analysis hardly altered the way I felt. I just glanced over at the trunk. The first time I saw it, I mean, when I discovered what was inside, it appalled me. Like I was staring at the old guy's corpse. Now it's just a trunk, of course. Remember. I also remember thinking I was going to toss it by the end of the week. That was before I started reading, long before I began putting it all together. You know, this is still the simple answer. I guess the complicated one I don't feel like getting into. I just thought that was a good chunk. I mean, it really gives a bit of insight into that part is written by a character. I believe his name is John or Johnny something with a with a J. Um, it shows a good part of his backstory, which we still don't really know anything about. Um, anyways, um, this is back in Zapano's writing. Because the enormous narcissism of their parents deprived Will and Tom of suitable role models, both brothers learned to identify with absence. Consequently, if something beneficial fortuitously entered their lives, they were immediately treated. I'm sorry. I need to stop. I need to. Because the enormous narcissism of their parents deprived Will and Tom of suitable role models, both brothers learned to identify with absence. Consequently, even if something beneficial fortuitously entered their lives, they immediately treated it as temporary. By the time they were teenagers, they were already accustomed to a discontinuous lifestyle marked by constant threats of abandonment and the lack of any emotional stability. Unfortunately, accustomed to here is really synonymous with damaged by. Further on the same page, it touches more upon that. It is not difficult to understand how children who have suffered from malnutrition or starvation need food and plenty of care if their bodies are to recover so they can go on and lead normal lives. If, however, the starvation is severe enough, the damage will be permanent and they will suffer physical impairments for the rest of their lives. Likewise, children who are deprived of emotional nurturing require care and love if their sense of security and self confidence is to be restored. However, if love is minimal and abuse high, the damage will be permanent and the children will suffer emotional impairments for the rest of their lives. Um, yeah, it's just an interesting thing to really think about is the effects um when you're young. When you're young, I guess things have more lasting damage. Um, the next section is quite a few pages later. The impossible is one thing when considered as a purely intellectual conceit. After all, it is not so large a problem when one can puzzle over an Escher print and then close the book. It is quite another thing when one faces a physical reality the mind and body cannot accept. Where narratives in film and fiction often rely on virtually immediate reactions, reality is far more insistent and indefinite, infinitely, literally more patient. Just as insidious poisons in the water can take years before their effects are felt, the consequences of the impossible are likewise not so instantly apparent. I feel like that's a very interesting take on the concept of impossibility. Um, I feel like I don't remember what I was gonna say. Maybe I'll write a tweet or something about it later if I remember what I was gonna say. I have that problem a lot. Things slip my brain all the time. It sometimes it's hard. It just kind of feels like there's a fog, kind of that that won't go away. But you know, it is what it is. Um. Anyways, um, I have one more part that I wanted to read. This is a. I feel like this video is longer than I anticipated by a lot. Sorry. I have a few pets and I don't really have a door, so I can hear them moving in the hall and stuff. So I just kind of glance out there every once in a while and see what they're up to. And I live in a really nice area, so there are often birds outside my window. Oddly silent most of the time, but it's nice when you see a bird go by, I guess. Right, right. Last one that I wanted to get through. Sorry. the brain fog again. This last part I really like because it gives an interesting perspective on the two brothers in a movie that Sapano had watched. It shows two people who are raised in very similar circumstances can still come out so differently. Tom gets by. Nividson, I think that's how you pronounce it, succeeds. Tom just wants to be. Nividson must become. And yet, despite such obvious differences, anyone who looks past Tom's wide grin and considers his eyes will find surprisingly deep pools of sorrow, which is how we know they are brothers, because like Tom, Nividson's eyes share the same water. Either way, the moment and opportunity for some kind of fraternal healing disappears when Tom makes an important discovery. I've always wondered what it would be like to have siblings. I'm an only child. Maybe it's for the best that I'm an only child. I don't know what I don't even know what I'd do with a sibling. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where that came from. Maybe I'll cut it out, or maybe I'll leave it in. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to cut out and what I'm supposed to leave in. My therapist wants me to leave in stuff more, so maybe I'll leave it in so that he can see that eventually. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that was those were the few parts of House of Leaves that I wanted to share today. I'm hoping to do 2 videos a week, cause this book is really long, so it's gonna take a while. But I don't know. There's something oddly comforting about it. I can't pinpoint what it is, but there's just something comforting about it. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. I did make a Twitter. I don't really know why I made the Twitter. I think it was something my therapist or a friend suggested. I don't fully remember, but I'll put a link to it, and I'll yeah, I'll just I'll put a link to it so you guys can watch and keep up and stuff. I'm surprised a few people have already followed. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or anything. It's cool that you guys want to hear what I have to say. So thanks, I guess. Um I should stop. Bye. I'll see you guys in the next one. I guess I think that's what people